Zenesi tene mazamu dunia tene mazamu tenkozesa bintu bichamu.
Welcome back, friends. In this video we'll talk about measure of query cost. Now we have seen that in a query processing there are three parts: query translation from highest to lowest level, query optimization, and actual evaluation of the queries. Now in query optimization we have to identify the best one, best query. So question is how to identify the best query. So before that we have to calculate the cost of each query. Okay, so that is here we have to measure. In this particular part we'll talk about how to measure the query cost. Okay, say four queries are there. Say query 1, 2, 3, 4 for the same concepts, for the same problem. We have to identify the best one. So how to get this one? So for that we have to calculate the query cost. So query cost of 1, query cost of 2, query cost of 3, and query cost of 4. So for this particular 4 queries, and we have to select the best one, we have to select the minimum one. The question is how to calculate the query cost, that we'll discuss here. Now the query evaluation cost is dependent on different resources. Okay, so the query evaluation cost or query cost, in short, it is depends on the three part. Okay, depends on the resources, and this is what disk access. Okay, so the hard disk access, CPU time, okay, execution time to execute or time to execute a code, CPU time to execute the query code, and if it is in distributed or parallel system, then cost of the data transmission. Are you getting this one? So these three are the main factors: disk access time, CPU time, and the transmission time. Now we will see one by one. So first of all, what is disk access? Now here the disk access, the cost of access data from disk is the most important for large database, since the disk accesses are slow compared to the main memory access. Now already you know, so if it is a memory organization is there, say CPU, cache memory, and one more cache memory is somewhere here inside the CPU, main memory, and hard disk. Now to execute a data must be present in this particular main memory, so we have to fetch the data from the hard disk. Okay, now that particular cost, the fetching data, so we have to access the data inside this particular hard disk, that is called disk access. And since it is a large and the technology is different, so the disk access times, if you compare with the main memory access, so disk access are slow compared to the main memory access. Now CPU time. Now if in this particular part, CPU time to execute the query code. Now here two parts are there. So code of the query plus the data. Now the data, code and data, that must be present in the main memory, and the CPU must execute that code. So CPU time is what? Time to execute the query code. Now generally disk access time is much more higher than the CPU time. So this is what? Okay, so the time to access fetching data or storing data, writing data, hard disk is much more higher than CPU time, execution time. Hence we ignore the CPU time and we only consider only disk access cost to measure the query evaluation cost. So our main goal is to identify the disk access cost to measure the query evaluation cost. Now that means what? Now for the query evaluation cost, the query evaluation cost depends upon three factors. First is what? The disk access time, disk access, CPU time, and the data transmission time. If it is data transmission time, if it is parallel or distributed system. Now here we consider only the single memory concept. Okay, or we assume that it is not a parallel or it is not distributed computing. Now we have to, right now we may ignore this particular part. And one more thing is there. Now disk access time is much more than the CPU time. That means we can also ignore this particular part. So our main concern is to identify the identify disk access time. To know the disk access time, that will through which we can identify the query evaluation cost. Now, what is disk access? To measure the cost of a data access from disk, we consider number of block transfer and number of disk seeks from data. That means what? See, now hard disk is what? Say this is what our hard disk, where the disks are there. Now there are two parts. So first of all, suppose the head is somewhere here, okay, and the data is present in somewhere here, okay. So this is the track, this is another track. The data is present in this particular track. So the head that must identify, search where the data present. So by rotating the disk or by rotating the head reading part or writing part, that particular part, that head must search where this particular data present. That is called data seeks. After that, after identification of the data must transfer from hard disk to main memory. So there are two parts, data searching and data transfer, okay. So there are two times are there, TT and TS. So TT is what? Average time to transfer a single block of data in second. And what is TS? And TS is the average block access time, that is disk seek plus rotation latency, that is also in second. So there are to disk access, there are two parts, TT and TS, okay. Now let number of blocks be BL and number of seeks be AC. Then the cost will be what? BL into TT plus AC into TT, that is in seconds, okay. And what is TT? TT is what? Average time to transfer a single block, and total number of blocks, say it is BL. So it is what? Total, we can say total time to transfer data, total number of blocks, it is this one, and total seek time will be what? This one. So total cost will be what? BL into TT plus AC into TT, that is in second. Now here, that block access time we can divide into two parts, okay. So the block access divided into two parts, block read and block write. Generally block write times needs much more time than the block read. So but we'll consider now, right now we'll assume that block read and block writes needs the same time, okay. Now the cost of all the algorithms that we consider depends on the size of the buffer memory. That is also important, okay. Now there are two cases are there, best case and the worst case. Now already you know, see, in memory organization is what? Memory management, say it is a main memory, okay, and say it is a secondary memory is there, and say it is a CPU, and the cache memory is there, okay. Are you getting this one? So this is what it is called memory organization. Now see, to execute any data or code that must present in the main memory. Now, but the size of the memory it is limited, say for example 1 GB or 4 GB. Now, but we need to execute 10 GB data or 10 GB code. So the data must be present in this particular hard disk. So the 10 GB data, it is present in this particular hard disk. So what we have to do, we have to apply our operating system concept, or we can say swapping concept. So we divide this main memory and the secondary memory into some equal parts. So if you divide this memory into equal parts, these are called blocks, okay. And if you divide this secondary memory, these are called page. So to execute any data, to execute something, that we have to, the data or code must present in the secondary memory first, and when it is required, we have to apply the swapping technique. That means what? Transferring data from secondary memory to main memory, and after executing this one, we have to swap out, return back to the secondary memory. Are you getting this one? So if a table is there, say student table, and the size of the student table is a 5 GB. So what we can do, we can break the table into say five equal parts. Say it is our student table and the total size say 3 GB for example. So we have to divide this part, the table student, into 3 equal parts, 1 GB, 1 GB, 1 GB, and then just block by block, transfer block by block into the primary memory. So first transfer this portion, this particular part into the main memory, then return back, then apply, then transfer this portion particular part, access it, then return back, and then finally access this particular part, and then transfer this particular part and use it and return back. That means what? Here it depends upon the buffer memory or the main memory size. If the main memory size is very high, that means what? Number of swap in and swap out are what? It will be the, we can reduce. Okay, okay, so it is reduced if the memory size is high, and if it will, and okay, are you getting this one? So there are two cases, are the best case and the worst case. So when all the data, that is all the table, reside into the main memory. Now if suppose we need 3 tables and the size of the table say low or the memory size is very high, so that we can recite all this information in the main memory. So that means what? We don't require any swap in and swap out. Okay, we need only once swap in and swap out, not too many times. So that is called the best case. But the worst case is what? Store fewer blocks or part of the block, and we need memory swap very frequently. Okay, we need many swaps very frequently. So if the block size is very high or the main memory size is very low, so we need too many swap in and swap out, so it needs time. Are you getting this one? But most of the cases we consider the worst case. In this case here, in this case, block read and block writes are there. Block writes are higher than the block read, so generally we consider this particular time. Are you getting this one? So every time we calculate, we consider only the worst case, we consider the maximum. Hence we will see the actual disk access time is much more lower than the estimated disk cost, since we consider worst case in most of the time. Are you getting this one? So the main part is what? The main part is to calculate the disk access time. Okay, so how much time required to transfer data from hard disk to main memory. Okay, so in this way we can calculate the query cost, and that is the end of this particular video. Thank you very much.